Hello and welcome to this edition of Arlington Public News. I'm Paul Werlin. Michelle is away this evening. In tonight's newscast, we talk with an Arlington resident who founded an addiction recovery program. We learn about the water quality of the Mystic River, and we introduce a new series exploring the world of finance. Plus, the winner of APN's Photo of the Month contest will be announced. These stories and more coming up next. Please stay with us. On Monday, June 16th, a public information session was held at Thompson Elementary School concerning the rebuilding of Mass Ave. The meeting provided an overview of the 2014 construction season and introduced the Mass DOT team to residents. The project is forecast to run for 2 construction seasons, from spring 2014 to spring 2016. Mass Ave and its side streets are expected to remain open to traffic at all times during construction. For more information or to view the session's presentation, please visit arlingtonma.gov/MassAveRebuild. Arlington's Master Plan Advisory Committee held a visual preference forum at Town Hall on Tuesday, June 10th. During the event, the committee presented design concepts for future buildings and streetscapes in Arlington, and residents were able to express their preferences. News intern Abigail Feldman brings us this report.
Architectural options were the subject of a well-attended visual preference survey meeting held last Tuesday, June 10th, in Town Hall Auditorium. The interactive presentation, part of Arlington's Master Plan project, allowed participants to consider their favorite building styles in streetscape designs. Using electronic voting devices, audience members recorded their choices for discussion. David Gamble of Gamble Associates led the conversation on the most and least popular choices.
Arlington is a beloved and cherished community, and the people that come to these events are really passionate about their place. And over time, Arlington will get more and more beloved by other people who want to move here. Mm-hmm. So I think that the feedback we got tonight was, informative, surprising at times.
Mm-hmm. Opinions were diverse. However, many showed interest in introducing more contemporary structures and building higher along Massachusetts Avenue. Numerous people also pointed to the Capitol Theater as a model for future design. Other conversations included debate on improving town walkability with more accessible buildings and less dangerous sidewalks. Presentation organizers explained that the results of the survey will be used in developing design guidelines and creating zoning diagnostics. For those who missed the meeting but would still like to vote, an online version of the survey is available at www.arlingtonma.gov/planning until June 27th. The next Master Plan meeting will be held on Thursday, June 19th in the lower level of the Senior Center. Reporting for Arlington Public News, this is Abigail Feldman.
Arlington Public News would like to express our sadness at the sudden passing of Sami El-Dahari, a beloved Spanish teacher at Arlington High School and a soccer coach for several teams in the area. Our thoughts go out to his family and the many students and athletes whose lives he touched. Mr. El-Dahari was 32. Wicked Sober is an organization that connects those struggling with drug and alcohol dependency to available resources in the community. Founder and interventionist Mike Duggan discusses his personal experience and how that led him to establish Wicked Sober.
Growing drug addiction has affected our community drastically. For a personal insight into addiction and recovery, we spoke to Mike Duggan from Wicked Sober, an organization that helps team up individuals and their families with the addiction help they need.
Well, we work with a lot of family organizations in Massachusetts, try to educate them on overdose prevention methods, work behind the scenes and, discuss the situation of their loved one, either their son or daughter, of what's going on. But we also work a lot with the addicts directly as far as offering support services and making phone calls with them. So this way they have some support trying to get themselves into a program.
So what types of addictions do you guys specialize in?
I would say majority of the phone calls that we receive nowadays is related to opioid addiction, either prescription pills that have led into heroin or just still, people using prescription pain medication at this time. Oxycodone, is definitely a huge drug that when I was growing up in Arlington was readily available and it was easier to get than alcohol for a lot of young kids. So,
right.
What families don't understand is oxycodone, is synthetic heroin in a pill, no worse, no different. And a lot of these, young teens are trying it, not realizing the addictive, capabilities behind it and how strong of a drug it is that they're taking until they're hooked, and then they can't afford their habit, so they make the transition into heroin because at first it's cheaper and more potent.
So what was the hardest thing for you? I know you obviously were trying to get help and your family seemed pretty supportive.
A lot of places I contact, they greet you as if you're worth less than you are. They kind of look down upon you for looking for help. You go into a hospital and they're trying to throw you out as quick as you came in because they look at you as a junkie. So the stigma is very difficult to break. So when you do call and get help, you go into a program and you finally get into a program, and then you find out that you're only in there for 5 to 7 days, and they're asking you what you want to do when you leave there, which is unfortunate because I don't know how I should be treated. I'm very sick. My disease centers in my mind. It's my thinking. So they're the ones who should be giving me suggestions, telling me where to transition into, giving me options and resources. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. In a matter of a week, I was right back home to the same environment with the same friends. And it was just a matter of time before I was using and going back into the program. So it took steps. There was a lot of resources that were available to me that I wasn't even aware of existed. Same thing with my mother. She had no clue what program was what information was correct. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So it was very helpful to be able to speak to somebody and try to look into multiple options and really understand what's available to you and have somebody talk to you like a human being. It's easy to get in touch with us. They can either contact us over the phone. Our information is on wickedsober.com. So it's an easy website to remember as well, but either the person struggling or the family members that are seeing the signs and symptoms of somebody, it's very important not to ignore those signs.
I'm Hannah Perlmutter for Arlington Public News. Thank you for watching.
The Young Men's Success Series is a life management program designed to provide young men with skills to build a successful life. News producers Michael Armanius and Gayatri Sundarajan showed how YMSS values education and information literacy, and how technology can improve education.
What are the demands of the 21st century in education?
Really, they're big demands because the economy is so different in the 21st century than it was in the 20th. And a lot of it's around technology and high tech. It's really STEM education.
On Saturday, April 12th, Boston's Mayor Marty Walsh spoke at the YMSS, the Young Men's Success Series.
The program was born out of frustration with the Boston public school system. Having worked in the system for a few years, I just became aware of what they call low performance. And so after interacting with so many young people, particularly young men of color, who couldn't even read the sports page, that became impetus for me to start this program. Our central nerve system of our program is life management. That is a life management curriculum, which teaches young people how to make better decisions with their life, and create better habits. Because as we know, good decisions and good habits are what make for better outcomes.
An underlying theme throughout the mayor's presentation, also that of Percy Hayes, was the importance of education.
Oh, extremely important. I mean, everything is about information, and I think that we all get our information now on computers or on smartphones, and through the newspaper. I still get mine through the newspaper, but information is extremely important, and having the literacy of that is extremely important to understand what's going on in the world.
Education is so important because the new economy in Boston is called the innovation economy. Anyone know what that is?
Innovation economy is when you're working with your brain, interacting most oftentimes with technology, especially computers, and you are the driving force. You are creating the future and new products every day.
Absolutely. And in that economy, you have to be able to react. You have to be able to think quickly.
It can be seen that information literacy is incredibly important in today's workforce. Skills such as being able to effectively locate, accurately evaluate, effectively use, and clearly communicate information is easily taught with the aid of technology, which most students today know how to use.
How many people in here have a cell phone? You have iPhones? Anyone has iPhones? Who has a cell phone? A smartphone. Do you know how to use it? What happens when your smartphone freezes up? What do? You freak out and then you figure it out, right? All right. When you're in class and you're writing a paper and your brain freezes, what do? We shut the book and walk away from it. But we want to make sure that smartphone's working. But sometimes when you need to learn about something, we don't use our brains the same way. So in the economy, we got to make our brains working like we're working on the iPhone, fixing the iPhone.
And also we're renovating some of our library and really bringing more use of technology in the libraries. People are using books less and less and technology more and more, so we have to bring more technology in.
We also have STEM programs, science, technology, engineering, and math. We also have a summer jobs program, and we, as you saw today, our speaker series. So our speaker series is really critical to basically bringing prominent people in and bringing institutions in to help with our organization.
This importance of education and the optimization offered by technology will be further discussed in a documentary to be released on ACMi channels. This is Gayatri Sundarajan and Michael Armanius reporting for Arlington Public News.
Recently, APN science correspondent Dr. Gareth Williams attended a Science for the Public event at Robbins Library. The event speaker, Dr. Max Tegmark, presented information from his new book, The Mathematical Universe, and spoke about the concept of multiple universes. Gareth brings us this story.
Understanding the nature and evolution of the universe is a fundamental question of physics and cosmology. It is an extremely complex problem, requiring the merging of two pillars of modern physics, quantum mechanics, which governs the subatomic world, and gravity, via general relativity, which governs our everyday world and the larger universe. Physicists have long searched for a theory that would merge quantum mechanics and gravity into a grand unified theory that would allow description of the whole universe. Albert Einstein searched for such a theory for more than 20 years, but failed. A well-attended public talk sponsored by Science for the Public at Robbins Library on May 20th by MIT Professor Max Tegmark attempted to explain some of the physics behind the unification problem to a general audience. Many scientists feel that it is their responsibility to explain their work to the public.
So let's begin here on Earth. We'll begin in the Himalayas and just go for a ride.
The talk was part of a book tour promoting Tegmark's new book, The Mathematical Universe, an account of his personal quest to explain the ultimate nature of reality. The book has been well reviewed and lauded for its accessibility to the public.
And most of the stars we see farther out here are so far away that it takes hundreds of years for light to reach us. So
Tegmark believes that the universe cannot only be described by mathematics, but that the universe is itself mathematics. He argues that if it isn't, then physics will someday discover a particle, field, or event that cannot be explained. This troubles him, but it is a controversial idea.
We humans have really repeatedly underestimated both the size of our physical world and the power of our human minds to understand it. We have great power to understand and improve the world around us. So let's make a difference. Thank you.
Professor Tegmark then signed copies of The Mathematical Universe. Originally from Sweden, he now lives in Winchester with his wife and 2 sons. I asked the professor when he thought we might expect a grand unified theory to be discovered.
I don't think it's at all implausible that we'll have a theory of quantum gravity also in my lifetime. So I think of science ultimately as a detective story, the greatest detective story of all time. And the most exciting thing about working as a scientist is you get to be part of this detective mystery.
For Arlington Public News, I'm Dr. Gareth Williams.
The Mystic River is 7 miles long and travels through numerous communities, including Arlington, Medford, Somerville, Everett, and East Boston. Somerville Neighborhood News shares this account of environmental concerns about the poor quality of the river.
Now, News Director Jane Regan brings us a story about the water quality in the Mystic River watershed.
Boaters and walkers love it. So do wildlife. The Mystic River earns the praise of many, but not from the Environmental Protection Agency. Its water quality only rates a D, while the Lower Charles River gets a B+. That's not surprising, according to Mystic River Watershed Association Director Ikkangar Singh Kulsa.
This is not a problem that has developed recently. This grade is the result of the impacts of pollution over more than 200 years. The Mystic River has, fortunately, been a great economic engine to the Boston region. So as a result, we have very densely developed communities, very successful and very popular places to live and to work. And in addition, along the riverfront A lot of industry has grown up over the last 2 centuries.
But that industry left major pollution behind. Other problems include leaky sewer pipes and water runoff. Storm drains from the cities in the Mystic River watershed sometimes dump raw sewage into the rivers and lakes. Rain runoff is a big problem, especially from Somerville. About 75% of the city is paved, and dirty water runs off the dirty pavement. Every drop of water matters in a watershed area.
This is a mural made by the Mystic River Watershed Association. What a watershed is, it's not necessarily just a river. It is made up of 22 communities, which means that any water that falls within this green area on the mural will eventually, any raindrop, any water will eventually end up in the Mystic River. There's a lot of water quality issues and sediment issues that our organization works to monitor and advocate to the public and the residents.
One of their programs is counting herring. Volunteers sign up to tally the number of fish that enter the upper Mystic Lake to spawn.
I live on the Mystic River a little further south in Medford, and I've been very impressed with what the various groups here have done with Boston Harbor and with the Charles River. The Mystic River still needs work. This end is really beautiful. As you can see, it's green and very pleasant. The other end of the Mystic is pretty beat up and really needs help. So by tracking the fish in the river, we can monitor its health and get an idea of how it's doing and how much help it needs.
So basically, you just watch?
You just watch and wait. You can think of the herring here and the other fish in the river as like canaries in the coal mine, because they give a general indication of the health, not just of the river, but of the overall environment. So by getting an idea of how the fish are doing, we really see how the environment is doing, which affects all of us. So it's something that, whether you're directly involved or not, we all breathe the same air, we all drink the same water. So it's an important thing to do.
Representative Denise Provo also thinks the Mystic's water quality is important. She's proposing a bill that would help.
One of the problems I would say that the Mystic has from the point of view of addressing its overall problems is that they're not overall problems at the moment. They're the problems of many individual jurisdictions. There are a lot of cities and towns in the watershed. The bill that would create a Mystic River Water Quality Commission would, for the first time, create a body that would be charged with the task of looking after the health of the Mystic River. There is precedent for such a commission. The Charles River has a water quality commission.
The Charles River water quality has improved remarkably over the past 20 years. Can the same thing happen for the Mystic River and the other bodies of water in the watershed? Representative Provo believes that her bill will eventually pass. Unfortunately, however, the Massachusetts state legislature is one of the least efficient in the country, passing only about 5% of laws proposed, according to one recent study. How long will residents, boaters, and swimmers have to wait? We'll be following this story. Reporting for Somerville Neighborhood News, I'm Jane Regan.
A Memorial Day assembly was held at the Ottoson Middle School on Friday, May 23rd. Youth producer Gayatri Sundarajan covered the proceedings.
The annual Memorial Day Assembly was held on Friday, May 23rd at the Ottoson Middle School. Veterans were invited to the school to be honored for their service to the nation. The school band performed the national anthem, along with America the Beautiful and You're a Grand Old Flag. Students read poems such as Flanders Field and In a Mother's Eyes to show the meaning of sacrifice.
White and blue. In a mother's eye, you see the pain so true. Freedom comes at a cost of sadness and loss you can see in a mother's eye.
And William Hayner, a veteran and member of the school committee, was the keynote speaker.
Remembering the good they did and brought to your life. Memorial Day is a day set aside so that everyone in our country remembers those in our military who have given their lives in the service of this country.
In conclusion, 2 students played taps on the trumpet. The Memorial Day Assembly is a time when students reflect on the meaning of sacrifice and the veterans who keep our nation safe and protect our freedom. This is Gayatri Sundarajan reporting for Arlington Public News.
Arlington Public News introduces Dollar Sense, a new series that examines the agencies, institutions, and mechanisms that make up our financial system. Please go to our website to see the full conversation.
Hello, I'm James Milan with Arlington Public News, and welcome to Dollar Sense, a new series offered by Arlington Public News in conjunction with Platinum Wealth Partners, in which we will explore the world of finance in all of its myriad breadth and we hope depth as well. Helping us and guiding us through that is going to be Joe Camargo, who is a partner at Platinum Wealth Partners and a portfolio manager. Joe, thanks very much for taking this on.
Thank you very much for having me, James.
We could start just about anywhere
Okay.
in talking about finance, but I figure let's start with something that everybody can relate to and everybody is familiar with.
Sure.
And I'll just pull out an example of what I'm talking about. This little piece of paper right here.
Right.
So tell me about that. It looks less like a piece of paper to me.
It's absolutely a piece of paper, and it's a very neat green piece of paper, multicolored in some areas. If you were to take this anywhere in the world, it has some value. And it has value because the U.S. government says that it does have value. What we operate on in our free market system is a currency that is called fiat currency. So this dollar bill is worth $1 in goods and services because the government says that it's worth $1 in goods and services. If you had pulled out a $20 bill, the $20 bill would represent $20 in value that you could exchange for milk, any commodity, any service that meets that $20 requirement. It is universally recognized as the primary currency in the world. There are other currencies, other countries that are very slowly, in some people's minds, catching up to the U.S. People talk about Japan and China, certainly, and you look at India also as a major potential market. But still, the U.S. with a $16 trillion GDP is far and away still the most important component to the global economic engine.
So it sounds like the dollar, our American currency, is in fact closely connected to and interrelated with the currencies of all these other markets. So if I'm going to take my dollar,
right,
and I want to go to Europe, I want to go to Paris, can I use my dollar on the streets of Paris?
Officially, what you would need to do is exchange our dollar for the euro or for wherever you are within the globe, and there is an established exchange rate for currency, whether it's the dollar to the euro, the dollar to the yen. So the value of the dollar is going to be driven very much so by not so much geopolitical conditions, but by the exchange rate that the countries have established for them.
For Arlington Public News and for Joe Camargo, I'm James Milan, and thanks for joining us for this inaugural segment of Dollar Sense.
Up next is our arts and entertainment calendar.
Attention Whovians! Robbins Library will host an all-day event dedicated to Doctor Who, including episodes, trivia, costume contest, and more on June 28th. See the work of up-and-coming local photographer Anushka Munch through July 1st at the Tuff Street Gallery. Explore the lunar surface and watch Mars appear to pass right beside the moon at Arlington Astronomy Night on July 5th. Arlington Alive hosts its Summer Arts Block Party on July 12th. Enjoy live music, demonstrations, and artisans' craft in the afternoon at Broadway Plaza and theater and film at Regent Theater in the evening. A Midsummer Night's Dream comes to Menotomy Rocks Park as part of Shakespeare in the Park on July 13th. Tag You're It! 10 artists switch places with 10 others in this unique show at 13 Forest Gallery on July 18th. And this year's Cheerful Where You Sit public art exhibit runs July 18th through 20th in front of the Cyrus Dallin Art Museum.
Local Arlington business Firefly Moon, located in Arlington Heights, sponsored APN's first photo of the month. News producer Hannah Perlmutter visited this eclectic shop that showcases unique items from independent artists and vendors.
Firefly Moon is one of Arlington's most eclectic and unique shops, specializing in local artists' work and granting young entrepreneurs an opportunity to showcase their creations. We spoke with owners Jim and Susan about what Firefly Moon means to them and our community. How did you guys decide to open this shop?
It's something we both always thought about doing, so it really was the space. It became available, and we thought, it's down the hill from where we live, let's give it a go. We try very hard to find things that are just a little off the beaten path, you know, things that are of high quality and, like Jim said, have a function so that people are going to invest their money in something, they get a good value, and it's usable.
And we also try to get a very broad range of price, and we go from something that's $2 up to $500, and we try to address as many populations as we can, men, women, kids, you know, whichever.
I know you support a lot of young entrepreneurs, people, you know, trying to get their art out for the first time. How do you team up with those people?
We wanted to just try to, you know, set ourselves apart. So we give new and upcoming artists as much exposure and as much of a chance as we do someone who we meet at a craft fair who's been established for 10 or 15 years.
What's been most rewarding about doing this?
I think getting to know them. You know, that's been a really good part. We've become quite good friends with a number of them, and there's just so many amazingly talented people out there who just do a wide variety of arts.
Firefly Moon is located on 1305 Mass Ave in Arlington. Be sure to head down, take a look, and help support local business.
And now it is time to announce the Photo of the Month winner for the Pets Enjoying the Weather photo contest. We have had many great submissions of dogs, cats, and even a bunny enjoying the summer weather. Congratulations to Brendan Foley and his dog Lily, who enjoyed the weather swimming and playing tennis. Brendan will receive a $25 gift card to Firefly Moon. Thank you all for the great photos, and stay tuned for next month's photo contest. We'd like to take a moment to congratulate the Arlington High School graduating class of 2014 and give a special shout out to ACMi member Kate Barvick and APN's very own Gianni Dorado. Congratulations. Thank you for joining us this week as we explore local events and issues of interest in and around Arlington. Check out our latest segments on the web at news.acmi.tv. Please join us next time for another edition of Arlington Public News. I'm Paul Werlin. See you next time.